Jaques Gallery on East 73rd and Madison in New York, in Manhattan, and it's actually in a historic townhouse from 1871, but we've renovated the inside so that it looks like a bit of a fun house, but it's also Art Nouveau themed if you look closely.
Tell me a little bit about your clientele, like who's coming up here.
Originally, it's a lot of Art Nouveau collectors. That's where the gallery started back in the 80s. We're actually on our 30-year anniversary. Ever since then, we've branched out into contemporary art as well, so we're also kind of coming in for a clientele that also goes for like more downtown galleries like Chelsea, Chinatown, Bowery. We're talking about design here. It's really versatile because we can move things around a lot and take them with us, so that this look kind of follows us to like art fairs and stuff. And the walls hold a lot of weight, which is great because sometimes we have to mount large ceramic objects. Currently we're looking at the artwork of a Japanese ceramist named Osamu Kojima. These are his works in stoneware, porcelain, glass, and various clay slips and glazes. Multiple artists over the course of about a five-year renovation did this interior, and Jaques, the gallery owner, decided to gut for this to be like a dark kind of somber exhibition space, and the rest of it to reflect Art Nouveau art, which is the theme or the artwork that he started dealing. It's a mural done in wax of artworks that we have or have had in the gallery, and it's a work by Eric Saratella in stoneware that looks like a tree, but it's not a tree. It was like this originally.
Yeah.
You can see the wood here.
And it's covered with velvet. This
yes.
is so precious.
You'll see like glass doorknobs upstairs, and then these are done by John Haley III. This artist who works with metal that we represent. Interesting. The office is down there, and another viewing space is over here, which is a great eclectic mix of contemporary and historic work, and an interior where you can see by the molding on the walls and ceiling, it's very late 19th century, but we've changed the look of it entirely to fit the current aesthetic. Because since it's the back room, sometimes, especially in winter, we don't get as much light in through the windows, so having the walls as gold leaf means they reflect all the lamps and make it like a warm glow. The Art Nouveau pottery, the historic stuff, is mostly French, Austrian, Danish, but the contemporary stuff, like Gareth Mason's from London, Anita Regel is from Poland but works in London, Esperson, who I mentioned earlier, is Danish, Eric Saratella is an American, mostly European though.
Welcome to LMAKgallery. We are right now in the middle of the Lower East Side Chinatown in New York City. This is our gallery. We have 3 exhibit spaces. One is the ground floor, and then in the back, which we'll get to, is the kind of courtyard, so that's for outside sculpture. And then upstairs we have a second floor, which is the combination of functional arts and designs in art.
How long does the history started?
About 13 years ago.
Key differences of your gallery, like how do you define yourself?
How do I define it? I think it's dedication. We're really interested in the language of artists that have been working for a little while, kind of like mid-career. People who have really figured something out and pushed their way through. This is our ground floor. This is where our main exhibit space is. This is the work from Liz Collins, and Liz has a interesting background because it initially she had a fashion background. She had a whole fashion line. Is also a pattern developer and really knows about the material in and of itself. So we can, for example, see here the large piece, which is Zagreb, which is over 25 feet long, which is a very long in meters. Don't know that out of my head, but this is a large weave which she then normally would manipulate, which we can also see in the black and white piece at the end. Let's talk about this one. This is called Partners, and this is kind of what I was talking about, the idea of thinking outside of the box as far as canvases. You know, taking two canvases and connecting them through threads and weaving through the actual structure of the canvas and connecting them to each other. And it just has this, it's a very simple idea and straightforward, but it just has this beautiful and profound sense to it that I really like. She compares this also, she started creating these when she became a mother, and that connection of a mother and child, but it can also go many other ways, which is just structurally, it allows for a viewer to really be able to connect to the work, which I really appreciate. And here you might recognize certain elements, like the shelving unit. These are from IKEA, so it's a very common object, and she's not shy about kind of embracing that. And she, with these types of pieces, where she's using common objects and using as a weave structure, she's welcoming our environment, our regular environment, and really embracing it and saying, look, this is just an extension of who we are. So we just walked outside. This is kind of our courtyard, and what you'll see around here is, besides the sculptures, what's also interesting is some of the exterior. The building in and of itself is from 1860. It's called a Federalist style building. It's a nice opportunity for evolving and younger sculptors to show, because usually in New York we have very limited space. So sculpture gets kind of pushed to the side. There's not enough room for it. So we're looking right now at a painting of Nate Ethier. Nate's a great American painter. He's one of my favorite colorists. His sensibility of color is just really astounding. And this is one of his earlier pieces. He's since evolved into slightly more expressive form, still using this kind of hard-edge structure, but underneath having this undertone of absolute chaos being introduced through color. Next to it, we have Keith Lemley, which is the sculpture, working with neon. Keith's ability with working with light and is just really beyond belief. So on the second floor is a little bit different this time, because we're doing a protest signs. So a friend of mine, Sarah Vadell, who's also a collector, started a group called the Femme Four. And what it basically was a collection of these signs that you saw during the Washington, D.C. march. And they just started collecting all these images, kind of trying to preserve history, trying to also preserve this moment. And it eventually evolved into almost a platform, and not just preservation, but also thinking about how we can keep a voice of resistance alive.
So R&Company, we are a design gallery based in Tribeca. We opened in 1997. The gallery was founded by Zesty Myers and Evan Snyderman. We work with a lot of different interior design firms and also private clients around New York and also all around the United States and internationally. We have 3 exhibitions. The first is Renate Müller. She is a German artist based off a town in Sonnenberg, Germany. Sonnenberg, Germany was considered the toy capital of the world. Children. They're made out of jute leather and burlap, and these are materials that were actually originally from the toy factories back in the 50s and 60s. You can see, for example, with this piece over here, material, the texture, it's very soft and very hard at the same time, so it has a tactile quality to it that actually helps children with developmental issues. Next exhibition, Kevin, you over here, is Forma. Forma is a group that was started by Karl Hauner and Martin Eisler, and you can see over here we have 2 portraits of the founders of this company. It was a company that is from the 50s and 60s where they actually mass-produced Brazilian furniture, and they were really pioneers in creating the industrialization of Brazilian modern furniture during that time. So many of these pieces were designed and then were mass-produced. And these are some of the more iconic works that they've made. This is the rib chair. I thought we had an example with a cushion over there, but you can just see like the beautiful, elegant, sleek form that they've been able to develop. Favorite pieces, a table set that was designed by Forma, and it just has a very elegant feel and is super breezy and super relaxed. It was made for the Brazilian environment that's humid and hot and has a really airy, beautiful, elegant quality to it. Design element in the space, which is a marble staircase that we've created with marble from Portugal. So we worked with this architect, Y Architecture. Kulapot is the principal there. And Y Architecture is based in Los Angeles and in New York, but they've worked on a range of different art galleries and art museums and really understand how to capture a space. And we didn't really want to lose any of the history of the space, so we left some of the columns and the brick, but we also wanted it to be contemporary and be a good space where we could present our designers' works. We have over here what we call the archive gallery. So we actually, in addition to putting on the exhibitions, we put on archival exhibitions as well. So right now you can see the designer that we saw upstairs, the toy maker Renate Mueller. We have all of her drawings on view and a little bit more information about how she conceives her design. So this designer down here, his name is Rogan Gregory. He actually comes from a fashion background. He had a very popular company that specialized in denim called Rogan, and he's always really enjoyed sculpting and always sculpted, and really now is coming to lights with that. And we've been working with him out in Long Island, and his practice, his influence is very much inspired by nature. He loves surfing and the beach, so it's very much about this organic practice. And these are all functional lighting, so you can see this beautiful.
That is so cool.
Yeah. It's a question that we're constantly being asked. Design is coming to the forefront. It's being collected more and more by art collectors, by interior designers. I think people are understanding that there is an investment, and this is similar to a piece of art or a painting, even though it's a lighting, it's a functional object. Many of the pieces in this space in particular are actually custom commissions. So when we work with clients, and Rogan in particular, will make custom works for our clients, custom lighting. So it's a huge part of it as well. Pieces on the wall, he calls his sketches. So although they're on the wall and very painterly, they're...
Is this also going to glow, or is this one for just
No, that's a good question. This is in a way his signature, but in those pieces, because they're lighting, they function as, there's a practical function to it. We work with historical designers, a lot of them, so as I mentioned, we work with a lot of Brazilian modern designers, so it's a lot of discovering and research on the historical end. For contemporary designers, it's a range. We find designers through the small network, but we also are constantly looking for new people to work with and new designers to represent.